Hello, everybody. Welcome to Go Global World. I am super excited to have you all here again. And here with me, we have amazing team of people gathered from around the world. We have a special topic to discuss with you, and it's important that we have these webinars for our global community. We do these webinars, as you know, not for the sake of promoting some motivation or something. It's important that you guys can apply this knowledge. And for this reason, we select people from around the world that can give you some advice, some recommendation of the cutting edge opportunities. And here today, we are discussing fuel your hypergrowth through culture and tools. And today with me, we have a team from a large company that can give them us a route to this topic and how they do it, and a practical case with a startup founder. And to present the speakers, I have my partner, moderator Alex Farsev, our ambassador at Go Global World in Singapore, and also he's a CEO and founder of the company called somin.ai. So Alex is super well connected in Asia region and beyond, of course, and he shares our values to give back the knowledge to the founders. He's the founders himself, and it's important that founders connect with the founders. So Alex, good to have you. Please give a few words about yourself and let's introduce the speakers.
Hey Daniel, thanks for the introduction. Actually, when I bumped into this opportunity, I was very excited because just like you can see from the topic of this webinar, which is called "Fuel Your Hypergrowth Through Culture and Tools." Uh, that webinar was supposed to be not just very useful for everyone, but also for myself. So I just treat it as a learning opportunity for myself, and also I wanted to bring it to the Go Global World community. Why so? Well, nowadays, all of us facing the challenge of remote work, challenge of keeping the culture in a company. To the end, just to make sure that your team in the day one of your company, of your startup, on the day 100 or in the third year of your company, they keep this passion, they own the problems. And once we all get in pandemic, not in office, for us, it become more and more challenging to figure out how to work in a new way, how to motivate people. And me as a technical person, I do believe tools must really collaborate and support humans nowadays. And therefore this webinar is really very relevant to us nowadays. If you are a founder, that's very relevant because you are the one going to establish this culture and infrastructure in your company to make sure that the remote environment actually boosts your business, not uh, uh, become a bottleneck for it, right? But then if you are a manager, it's also very important because you are the one deploying these tools and practices in your daily work for your departments. If you are employee, it's still very important because you will be part of this ecosystem. So understanding of it and really buying it rather than just following what your boss asking you to do is also very important because that will help you to become top producer, manager, and maybe a founder of your own business in the end. So I've got very exciting speakers today, and they come from different sides of this, right? I've got Jocelyn Chua. Jocelyn Chua is working with startups in ByteDance and Lark. I mean, of course, all you know the names of these companies, right? So she's very experienced in embedding and deploying these collaborative tools, helping companies to really make sure they're really using it as full and leverage on it. But at the same time, we also get Bui Hainam, who is a co-founder and the CEO of Soban, which is a modern e-commerce app empowering small businesses to drive on the digital platforms. And he can show you and will show you a different side of this question from the company, from the founder perspective. I think it's a lot of things to learn for us. As always, will give our speakers the chance to introduce themselves a little bit deeper. And now, without further ado, let's move to our first speaker, Jocelyn. So please take the floor.
Thank you very much, Alex and Daniel, for that really warm welcome and intro. So my name is Jocelyn. I'm really excited to be here. In my maybe around 13 years of working experience, I've been working with both large and small enterprises on their digital transformation journey with the focus on organizational development and human capital. So really excited to share the ByteDance story as well as to learn from each other. So while I share my slides, I'm just gonna talk about, basically today, my focus will be on how ByteDance fueled our hypergrowth through culture and tools. So to start off, I just want to give a big shout out to startups, right? Because you guys are really transforming the many industries. Startups play a very important role in the ecosystem in terms of um, helping innovate and changing consumers' life basically. So a lot of these logos that you see on the screen, they might be more Asia based, but some of them 5 years ago nobody knew of them, right? But now they are one of the biggest players in their industry. So just want to acknowledge that, and that in ByteDance, we believe strongly in the future of startups. And we are passionate, right, to help startups in their journeys to go into the hypergrowth stage. So, a food for thought. What are the key success factors for startups? Some of you might know Bill Gross. So Bill Gross, he's the founder of Idea Lab. And he says that there are 5 key elements that will lead to a success of a startup. The first one being timing. This is top essential, but of course, timing might be something that we cannot control. And then when you have an idea, you need a team to execute it. So that's why the team is, the second most important success factor. And beyond which, of course, after some time focusing on product, the technology, you will require a certain business model or business plan to monetize that idea that you have. And the final one, of course, is funding. Now, for today's presentation, we will really focus on the team part, because team really not only consists of the people, but more on also how they work together, right? And the kind of culture or direction that we want to set them to work in the company. So there are some common challenges that are faced by startups, and you guys might resonate with some of these. The first is startups find it hard to attract or retain talents. And of course, not surprising, some people, they have the thinking that, startups are so tough. Will they be around the next year? There's so many changes. I just want a cushy life where I can just go home on time. So a lot of people, they might resist joining startups and join the bigger, more established companies instead. Now, the next one is that nowadays with remote working, teams tend to be scattered across cities or even countries. So that in itself poses different challenges such as language or even culture kind of backgrounds or time zones, right? Now, the next challenge is that some teams, they prefer to communicate via WhatsApp, Telegram. Some prefer to do emails, or maybe information is scattered all over the place, like Google Drive, Slack, Jira, everywhere. So as a management position, sometimes it can be really hard to consolidate all these information to make a sound decision for your business. Now, of course, when you're a startup, there's so many things to consider about. It's likely that there will be processes that will still be managed, that will still be manual, right? So that also means that sometimes a lot of time is taken up for these manual processes and people can be overwhelmed. Now, so for these 2 points, there's one other more important question is that all these different platforms or processes, are they able to scale with you as your company grows, right? So that's another challenge that might be faced when a startup grows. And of course, the final one is limited budget. I mean, in the ideal world, we can get unlimited money to do all the hundred and thousands of ideas that we have, right? Um, but not really in the real world. So that's a common challenge. Now, let me talk a little bit about ByteDance. For those who are not familiar with ByteDance, we have been quoted as being the most valuable startup in the world. Now, as of 2020, our valuation is around $140 billion. And I believe as of 2021, that number has risen up to around $400 billion. Okay. Again, for those who are not aware, ByteDance is a AI company. Our most famous application is TikTok. Um, just a side funny story. Last night, my dad literally asked me to help him to, sign up for TikTok. So that's cool. And beyond TikTok, we have, Hello, which is popular in Indonesia. We have Lark, which I'm a part of, which is an enterprise collaboration platform. And then we have Toutiao, which is like a news and information platform based in China. So those are kind of the top few apps that are part of ByteDance. And to just go through a little bit about how fast ByteDance grow, right? You can see on the left that our revenue growth has been accelerating much more than some of the other uh, popular or famous startups or established companies now. Okay, and currently in ByteDance, we have around 150,000 employees spread out across more than 200 cities. Our apps are used in 150 markets and with numerous languages. So as we speak, I mean, even now in Singapore alone, almost every week we get a notification saying, "Oh, let's welcome these new bike dancers." And every week it can be 30 or 40 new bike dancers. So we are still in that hypergrowth stage, and I don't see it slowing down anytime. And so I wanted to quote a little bit from our ex-CEO, Zhang Yiming. He says to develop a company as a product. And what he really means here is to power the company with the right culture and the right tools. So just want to emphasize on this culture and tools is that one cannot exist without the other, right? They are married to each other basically. So think about it this way. If you have a good culture, but you don't have the right tool to kind of implement it, right, or to bring it to life, then that culture is just words on the wall, right? Or the other way around, if you have a perfect, great tool, but you don't have the right culture to kind of dictate what's the direction, how people should work, then that tool in itself is also more or less meaningless. Okay, so to highlight that a little bit further, I wanted to go into our management philosophy in ByteDance. So the idea here is to create that efficient organization by giving context and not control. So I'll explain a little bit what that means. Our ex-CEO Zhang Yiming, he is somebody who is quite against a top-down or a managed-up kind of approach. He is against micromanaging. So what he believes is that you hire the right people and you trust them, trust that they will do the right thing, give them all the information that they need, and ultimately they will be able to come up with the best products for the customers. But on top of that, give them that direction or the culture, how they should be operating within the company, and also provide them with the tool so that they can implement that, they can work their magic all in one tool through the direction of the culture. And that in itself would bring about fast business growth. Okay. So I want to touch a little bit about ByteDance's culture, or what we call Byte styles, because we do live quite closely to it. The first one, and I think it's quite relevant for startups, right, is always day one. So always day one essentially is taking initiatives, pushing the boundaries. There are no task that's too big or too small, right? Especially in a startup where you have to get your hands dirty to do everything. And one more important thing is that be resilient to changes, even thriving in it. So always stay curious, always day one. Now the second bite style is aiming for the highest. So this is about raising the bar, waiting for the next best gain. So this is about, don't be complacent after you have done one achievement. There's always the next best thing that you can achieve. Think outside the box, right? The third one, be grounded and courageous. Now this is about, uh, making your own decisions or discoveries, but at the same time, staying level headed. Know exactly where you want to go, focus on the impact, despite all the other noise or distractions that might come, especially in a startup, right? Um, Find a common ground and do rapid iterations, um, multiple possibilities. So the idea here is staying agile as well. Okay. Now, being open and humble, this is something that I think is a very unique for a lot of organizations. Being open, of course, is being open to help others. Always ready to collaborate, trusting yourself as well as trusting your team members that they will deliver the best work, but also being humble, right? Being mindful and check your ego, right? Put your ego on the side and be open to different ideas, right? And so in that way we will come up with the best idea possible, or the best product possible for the customers. Now, being candid and clear, this is being able to share your honest opinions. It's okay to make mistakes, just own up when you do. And also this part is quite interesting because this part is talking about avoid being a leader pleaser, right? Just focus on presenting just the facts and data, right? Take your emotions out of everything, right? Just be very factual, be accurate, and be forefront. And the last one, diversity and inclusion. So of course, this is talking about making sure that diversity is being reflected in the teams, encouraging everyone to participate, as well as fostering that welcoming workplace, and be a champion of inclusion. So I mentioned earlier that culture on its own, it doesn't stand for anything, right? So within ByteDance, we do have a certain tool, and this tool is called luck, that helps to bring these cultures to life. Um, so I'll just talk a little bit because there's so much that I can talk about, but just a few examples on how luck can kind of bring our cultures to life. So in ByteDance, we have OKRs, right? Objective key results that are implemented in luck so that our employees, they can actually put in their stretch goals so that they can aim for the highest. And in terms of, let's say, being candid and clear or being open and humble, our tool, luck, enables the teams to be able to create groups easily, share their comments, or even during a meeting presentation itself, collaborate then during the meeting, right? So everything just works quite seamlessly. And of course, context not control, luck is able to allow us to search for all forms of information be it through chats or emails or documents, so that we can easily get the kind of information that we need to do our jobs. And so this brings me to a good segue why we need better tools. Actually, it's quite a no-brainer, right? A better tool. Why? Because it's more efficient, more effective. But now with COVID and the pandemic, it has really brought about changes in the way people work. So hybrid remote working, that will be the new normal. More people will be working from home, from the office, and the mix. Um, COVID has definitely accelerated digital transformation amongst business and amongst the way that consumers interact with businesses. So all that means that digital workplace technologies will all the more be very essential. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the history of ByteDance's tools. So when ByteDance started out, we were using all these wonderful platforms, be it for our communication, for collaboration purposes, for document content creation, or even office automation. But along the years, as ByteDance grew really fast, what we found was that these individual tools were not able to scale with us or support us as we went on a hypergrowth stage. So what ByteDance decided was to actually develop our own internal tool that encompasses all of these individual features into just one single app. And that app is called Luck. And the benefits of that, of moving from the individual different platforms to Luck, were things like we were able to lower our communication costs. So these can be in terms of saving in-person meeting time, or even onboarding new hire. We could save nearly half an hour of time from that. We were able to lower our turnover and attrition. So employees felt more connected. There was a lot of savings done in terms of collaboration costs. And from that saving, we were able to translate that to more revenue from sales, be it either more time for customer development or more time for customer acquisition. So to sum up a little bit, Lark being an all-in-one digital collaboration hub encompasses of all these features, and all these features, in actual fact, they are interconnected, so that as a user, it's a more integrated experience, and everything happens on that hub. So I don't have to kind of waste time switching between different apps to find my information. So I can take that time and save it on really creating value for my customers. So this is a good segue for me to actually introduce our next speaker, Nam. So he will share his personal knowledge as well as experience. So Nam, over to you, please.
Hello, everyone, and thanks, Jocelyn, for the introduction and passing over. And also, before I start this sharing, I also want to thank Jocelyn and Luck as well, because Luck is truly very helpful tool for us as a hypergrowth startup, and I've been looking for the right tool to do it for months, and I'm gonna share with you why in my presentation. So I hope everyone can see my presentation clear here, right?
Yeah, here you go. Just make it full screen.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay,
Uh,
that's good. Okay. Yeah. So hi everyone again. So just quick introduction. I'm Hainam from Somin.ai. And from Somin.ai, what we do here is we try to empower the nano and micro businesses to thrive with digital technology, because we also believe that digital transformation is crucial for everyone. But for large company, a lot of solution out there. For small one, they need some tool. They need something to enable them to grow, and that's our mission of Somin.ai. And to start that, let's have a short introduction about myself so that you know that who I am and why I'm here. Hainam, I spent 7 years in my earlier career as a banker back in Singapore. 7 years from DBS, Techcombank, Credit Suisse, and HSBC, and then feel a little bit bored. Then I decided to go back to Vietnam. joined startup at the time as Lazada. Spent 2 years in Lazada as a head of strategy, transport, CI, pricing, and commercial director until the Alibaba investment into Lazada, and I oversee the entire commercial function here for electronics category, account for 65% of the GMV of entire Lazada. So Lazada at the time is the largest e-commerce marketplace in South Asia. Okay, so have a chance to go to China and see that's how things happen in China, and after go visiting China, feel super excited. And since then, when I come back to Vietnam, I decide to start my e-commerce venture journey. And since then, just coincidentally, I found for startup company uh, around e-commerce ecosystem. 3 successful exit, 1 still running. And after founding the 4th company, I asking myself, what gonna be the next one? And to be frank, that I want to build something last instead of build to sell like Lazada culture earlier. And then I found Somin.ai. And I found Somin.ai just recently and want to build a startup that is big enough, make strong impact to society, especially this time I want to build to last. So build to last is a very important part of build to last. Instead of build to sell, is culture. That's why I'm here, and I'm very excited about sharing a couple of my story along the way, how I build the company and how I use the culture and tool to fuel the hypergrowth. So the objective today, 4 things. Number 1, that's how we define the culture right from beginning. Number 2, that's how we define.
Now, 1 second. Can you make your slides full screen so we have the full story?
Yeah, can you see my slide here? I'm already made it full screen.
It's not a full screen.
No, I
Okay,
think
no
you
worries.
have 2 screens. We
Because-
only see one of your screen.
Okay, let me try to share again my entire screen.
All right.
Yeah, okay. And sorry if you see any kind of notification.
No worries. It's actually the beauty of live streams, and it's normal. I think it's we are delivering the best knowledge that we have for our audience, and it's normal. Thank you. So we have a full screen now. Go ahead.
Okay, that's perfect. So 4 things: how we define our culture. Number 2, that's how we find the culture fit people. That challenge, as Jocelyn shared earlier, find the right people. And how we use that to fuel our hypergrowth engine. And the last, but not least, some best practice that how is a tool and practice in our daily operation today. So that's 4 things that you can expect from my 20 minutes sharing and presentation. And I hope to get a lot of questions after that. So number 1, our company. A little bit background. The company, this time we build the company, we focus on mission instead of opportunity. Previously, we build to sell, we focus on opportunity. And this time, mission. Why we need to build this business? Because the mission keep everything going for a very long term. So we look at that and we see that our mission here, why the company exists, is to empower other people. Okay. To try to help them grow with technology. And that's why we create the product. Product Somin.ai here can be different the product about 5 or 10 years later, but it always serves the mission. And at the moment, Somin.ai have a small and micro businesses to build their online store, basically to help them to sell more and manage their cash flow and business operation, basically help them to save the money. And the tool we have is Somin.ai. Now at the moment, small businesses can literally do everything with Somin.ai. Can sell, can manage inventory, can capture order, can manage the digital ledger, basically all the bookkeeping, and also can serve the customer better, can have analytics as well. That all the stuff we did in just 6 months. So that's why we proudly share about our hypergrowth journey. So yeah, why we start with small one, just a little bit context, because as I shared with you earlier, we have many technological solutions to empower the bigger one, the enterprise, even the SME. But the one who's small, they're contributing to more than 50% and up to 65% of our total GDP. They are completely underserved. and none of the technology and tools that support them in the new digital economy, which is coming. And that's why we want to focus, and that's why we want to have them. And that's aligned with our mission, which is also very important as well. And how we started, we actually just started 7 months ago. And this is the product of 2 weeks of hackathon. So we gather the whole team together. At the time that the COVID hit on the ground and everyone had to start working from home. And we saw a lot of small business suffering because they cannot sell, they cannot reach out to customer. So this is how we kickstarted. We kickstarted with Confluent, very short message, gather the 25 people team and saying that we put all our effort to build the product within 2 weeks. And we launched on the third week. And by doing that, we already having the product and also enable thousands of retailers to sell, to open their online store in very first time of their life, and also to reach out to all the customers around them and having their business continuity. That's how we started. And that's going to be, I'll show you why it be part of our culture. 2 weeks, launch the product. And right after that, 1 month later, we fundraise. We raised 1.5 million, small amount, but very short period of time. We talked to investor, and thankfully, investor trusted and having the check within 2 phone calls. So we got the first one, and we get the backed by a lot of big investors. For those are working on intake, you may know MongoDB, right? One of the most popular database engines. So we have the support from founder of MongoDB. Yeah, so that's and then few other guys here in Vietnam to support it. So 2 weeks we get fundraise, and then we experience a very high growth. And thankfully we get the recognition from the government for what we are trying to do. We are trying to help a lot of people. We're trying to make the social impact and help all the retailer to grow through COVID. And we recently get the prize for that. And the last one, we grow the team from 25 people to more than 60 people. Everything happened online, and we haven't met each other. The photo that you saw here is from our office, just recently opened a month ago. So basically for 6 months, we're working from home remotely, and we collaborate everything online, and we just recently met. So that's the initial traction. And we have 2 more things, which is proudly to share that in very last day of the December, we actually secure the second fundraise. This also happened within a week. We still have some money, but yes, everyone want to continue support us. So took another week to finish the second fundraise. We haven't announced yet on all the media, but the second one within a week. And we are very on track to become the market leader, because the largest SaaS company in Vietnam, even that it exists for more than 5 years, they are having only 150,000 users. And we already achieved 120,000, more than that this month. So surely next month, we're going to be the market leader. So that's what I shared at Hypergrowth, just 7 months, and I'm very proud of the team. But what you saw here, as people usually see, that's just tipping of the iceberg. What people can saw easily is we have the rapid fundraising, we have hypergrowth, and we can become the market leader. What people can see, but they need to focus to see, is we have a very strong team. We have rapid release of our product. Our product iteration is super fast, and a lot of growth, a lot of idea. So this is, if they follow Somin Hang for more than 6 months, they're going to see that everything new in every 1 or 2 week cycle. But what is under the iceberg? This is rapid hiring and filtering as well. To have strong team, we have the process to hire fast and also filter fast. To have rapid release and grow high, we need to adapt the good way to all the people across the country. Even from Saigon here, from other city, can collaborate together effectively. And we have a lot of hackathons. This is a part of culture. So underlying that is the principle about how we build the culture, how we collaborate with each other, and how we find the best tool to facilitate that. The entire iceberg, but a lot of people only can see the tip of the iceberg. So I'm gonna go more on culture, the way we collaborate, our way of working, and the tool with you guys. So first of all, to start with the culture, need to start with the right people. And the right people, this is what I shared with you earlier. It all started why. Well, I have a couple of years running startup and build startups and realized that started why is very important. Started why is started people. And started why is started mission. We're talking a lot about core value, vision, and mission. But actually, mission is the only thing that matters because the mission is the reason why the company exists, the reason why all the people should gather together. So we use mission to find all the people. So I spend a lot of time in interview, and every single people pass all the technical interview, gonna have the cultural interview with me. And that's question we ask it, whether you want to stick with us in very long run. Because for mission-driven people, they will not focus on short-term goals. The short-term, they value the longer-term impact and return. So this is the first thing that we spend. We find the people who love technology. We find the people who want to help other and and happy when they can be helpful to some other people. So this is the first step. We start with why. On the people and why they want to join this our business. But this is very only the first part. The key thing is we can go very fast and aggressive in recruitment because we need to. We do not have a choice like Silicon Valley company where you have a pool of talent. We don't have choice like ByteDance in China where you have a billion of people. We are much smaller company. So the only thing that we do is we need to hire fast, okay? And we do quick check on the culture if they can fit in the long run. The second, we use onboarding and we filter fast as well. So that's the only way. Just like you do sale, recruiting, actually sale, you have a funnel and you want to make it fast and efficient. So then you can have the right people that fit to your culture. That's how we started. So, and then when the people getting the cultural interview, we put 5 core value. This is also the core value that fit to our what we want to do. If they already have the long-term view and we align the mission, we look at the behavior. This is where core value makes sense. So core value is the behavior that fit to the business strategy at any point of time. And in our early stage startup, we want to fuel the hypergrowth. So our core value also focus on getting the people that aggressive and also want to grow fast. So we're talking about ownership because we will not want to manage them. We're talking about the result. So if you're owner of everything, you own the result. So we give the full empowerment. The second, we want them to be candid, fast, so that if anything happen in early state of startup, shit hit the fan all the time. But we want to have the people who have the candid to speak out, to raise the issue, so that we can identify that. The first one, we want to promote teamwork because when the problem happen, and what we realize that the relationship between people and connection is not only through the fun time. Of course, we appreciate fun time, right? But fun can be bought easily. I can buy a beer, I can throw the party, and everyone can be very connected. But the in-depth relationship between people, it goes through battle. This is part of the Asian culture. Even that's my Vietnamese culture as well. If they fight to difficult time, they're gonna remember that and they appreciate the moment together, and that's how they connected. And that's why we push teamwork. And the way we will teamwork is to battle. So we design battle. Okay? So that to people to expose themselves and to learn from each other and become brothers. And to win the battle, you need to have everyone with a great idea, just like luck, core value, constant learning. Because constant learning is about relearn, about de-learn, about forget what you learn, and to be open-minded and learn new things, to keep them open-minded. And the last one, embrace challenge. Because in early day startup, and the way we build culture is to battle, it cannot be the easy game. So It's a lot of challenge. So this is why everyone had to break their own boundary. So this is the behavior we look at when after the interview. And onboarding, actually, we design that the whole kind of the process is quite intensive for them to learn, to make impact, and to go through challenge. So after onboarding, we having the weekly feedback collection from all the new guy, from how they understand the business, what be the feedback they give for the business. So we design kind of the tool here. For every week they receive the tool, the survey, and this survey we build with luck code. Yeah, I'm not sure if I pronounce correctly, but it's very helpful tool. We design simple question like, if you are a user, what you go visit our website, what you see, we trying to deliver, how you feel about the product, whether you want to recommend the product to your friend or not. And this gonna give the data for us to start evaluate and also the manager to manage the team through the onboarding. So after a while, we find who gonna be the fit, who are actually culture fit and have a good behavior. And once we onboard the right people, we believe that they can go with it in very long run. So that's how we select the people. Okay, still rapid hiring, rapid filtering, and the process to do so. And when we have the right people, yes, the people and culture, the fuel for the growth. Whatever kind of growth strategy, growth is just strategy, right? Just a target. The people there, we need to make the catalyst for them to work together and drive the growth. It's not me to drive the growth, that's them to drive the growth. And it's not my business, that's their business as well, because we all have ownership. We act like owner here. So the growth engine, I showed you earlier, battle, right? So it's combination of two things, challenge and collaboration. Because for sure, if you go through challenge, you drive the company growth. And we keep adding challenge and challenge. And we also support the collaboration so that everyone solve the challenge together. It's the same principle that I shared with you earlier. So challenge and collaboration, that's the two elements for our growth engine. So how we do that? So challenge, the company culture is, the company started by hackathon. In 2 weeks, launch a product, and then hackathon naturally become a part of culture. So every time we have a new feature, usually we put it like hackathon. Whether you can deliver the feature fast enough, simple enough to get the value, and don't be afraid of getting it wrong, right? Yeah, so this is one. And hackathon is a scene very popular in all the tech company. But this kind of hackathon concept is not only under engineering. We put in marketing and product as well. Where marketing, M/E mean month end acquisition. To have that grow, we have the acquisition campaign usually happen in very last week of the month. So people having the sense of urgency, and also need to think, how can we make something different from what we did in last couple of weeks, in early weeks of the month, so that we can keep acquiring user and keep acquiring user. Then another challenge for the product team. If the product is need to design the product that retain customer, then it's about month-end activation. And to be frank, that as I'm speaking here, the team is now in another round of hackathon. The tech team is focused developing new feature. We're gonna release tomorrow, a couple of days before the New Year holiday. And the growth team is still trying to getting the target, and they also talking about how to reactivate the customer. And we're gonna have the meeting in a couple of hours, 2 hours on the weekly performance to see that what we're gonna do. But that's how we design battle. And I think that battle is important to get people go beyond their boundary, the personal that they can think of, and constantly drive the growth of the company every month. So this is how we design battle. 3 things. And however, yeah, when we design battle, we need to make them collaborate and actually to support that. So we have a few principles in the way of working. We do not manage time and space. So basically, you can work anytime. We don't do attendance. We don't do time check-in. Yes, if you're having the difficulty to get in office on time, that's fine, because last night you stay late, and we do not control the space. Space means that the present. You do not have to be present in the office, because anyway the company was a bill when everyone working from home. So what the point of managing the space, the present, right? So and we do not manage that, but we focus on two things. Number one, result. The result, whatever you do, you have strong ownership. We trust you. The result is important. If you make a commitment, you deliver that. And the second, the communication. Communication is how everyone interact with each other. If you have some certain commitment about the meeting, better to be disciplined at that. And you can be flexible in time and space, but you need to be available if there is anything urgent. Yeah. So that's how we define our way of working. Flexible in the time and space, but really disciplined at result and communication. Yeah, so this is how we build, and to make it happen, we having couple of the best practice daily. We have daily stand up. We have we put something called real time issue notification to have everyone to speak out about issue and react it fast. On weekly basis, we have performance review. We have weekly performance in every Wednesday, so it's gonna happen in 2 hours. But by every Friday, we gather. We have happy hour, called the town hall, so that everyone can keep in sync about what happened. I give the visit update and play some game together. This kind of team building. On the monthly basis, we have hackathon, as shared earlier, and we have month-end campaign. This is where to push everyone to the next level. It's kind of the training. So let me share with you a few practice how it happened in reality. So daily stand up. You can look at the photo on the left. That's how we do daily stand up. Very simple. People from home and the office stand together to put a speaker there. Yeah, it's powered by luck meeting. And on the right is luck calendar. As you see, this I just take my calendar screenshot a couple of moments ago. You see that on the daily basis, I have 15 minutes to 30 minutes catch up with the management. It can be shorter. So in every day, when we have daily stand up across all the team, we have the management sync up to see if there is any critical thing or support needed today amongst the management, so that we can support and can react very fast. And we put together around 1.5 hours by the end of every Saturday. So where we do not have getting any pressure of the day-to-day hassle, so we can sit down, relax, and think about what we're gonna do next week. So that's how our cycle. And the good thing about Lucky Letter is it drive the participation automatically. So what I saw in the company is when we have a daily stand-up, when people start the meeting, it automatically trigger that notification to all the team member. So that's kind of a reminder, and everyone can show up quite quickly, 1 or 2 minutes. It become very natural in my company operation, daily operation. So that's how we started. But very important to have everyone to stand up, transparent, speaking about the plan, and also sharing the issue. Yeah. This is the second thing. We want to keep everything transparent, both the good thing and the bad thing, and we want everyone to have ownership on the action. So we set up two things. On the left hand side, we get real time market feedback. So we have all the bot to listen. So we use one of the tools like AppFollow, because we develop app built in Luck to listen to all the customer rating. So every time customer put a review on App Store or Play Store, it notify here in every morning. Perfect timing as well. 12, around 9 a.m. So people can see both the positive thing for the market, but if they release something bad, they can hear the feedback directly from the customer. and people start chatting about why customer complain, and they can react very fast. So this is how we get the real-time market feedback. And the secondly, we have 911. 911, as the name saying, this is for critical or emergency problem. So we also build a bot to have real-time notification from our system if anything abnormal happen or some bug or some issue, everyone can come and raise, because we do everything in public, and we do not afraid of a problem. So it become the part of culture where everyone can easily talking about the bad thing. Yeah, because we know that in startup a lot of bad thing happen, and every coin have two sides, especially on the hypergrowth company. And the ownership as well. The ownership here, people usually, when we're talking about the bad thing, usually having the people who volunteer and say, okay, I'll take care of that. And that's communication publicly in this group is also the commitment. So that's how we put it on daily basis to put everyone in the fighting mode, and to promote our culture here is kind of talking about the difficult things, and also that to see that who actually take the ownership to really get the hand dirty, to really pick up the trash on the floor as a part of my culture, because the trash cannot be ours, but we are the one who willing to pick it up. And the second is how we design battle. So we have the weekly performance and every Wednesday, and every Wednesday we use luck here to jot down all the meeting notes, and they put name and the people. And every Wednesday, people understand, number one, what the problem happening, and number two, who responsible for that. And usually for second and third week of the month, when we do performance review, we know that there's something else we have to do. Then it usually leading to the hackathon, leading to the campaigns, month-end campaigns. So this is example of the meeting we having on 22nd of December, where everyone is going holiday. We're still sitting here diligently. And after that, we decided, okay, so we're gonna have something called year-end party. The year-end party is not something fun, but really fun, because year-end party is year-end campaign. So we joke, okay, it's time to write the history. And that translates immediately into a hackathon and campaign. And we did that last month, and we already the part of culture we do it every third or fourth weeks of the month, because if you have a lot of time to do, then it becomes easy. If you have short time, it pressurize you to think out of the box, and that build culture. Okay, and this is what we did in the company. So anyway, a few things I want to share with you. So basically, that's put in a summary how we on the presentation. I will share with you a little bit about how we design the culture and this strategy fit, because we decide to get the people in the long run, and we decide to have a hypergrowth as a business strategy. So how we define it, and every single core value to focus on finding that right people and right behavior. Secondly, we recruit fast, potentially right. We are not sure yet, but we use the onboarding process to assess and filter fast as well. We have 60 people here, but actually a lot of people join us, and a lot of people who find not really good fit after 2 months. The third one, we design the way working that foster collaboration and performance. Yeah, only collaboration and performance. The other thing is not really matter. We design challenging battle to drive the hypergrowth and also train the team. And very last one, that we make it gradually become regular schedule. And when it becomes regular, it becomes part of culture. Already part of the culture of daily stand-up. The part of culture that every Wednesday we look at performance. And the part of culture that we're gonna have a lot of hackathon and month-end campaign push by the end of the month. Yeah. So few minutes sharing with you and how what happened here in Vietnam with my company. I hope that it's gonna be helpful for everyone, and happy to take any question, answer, or even that stay connected, and so that we can action a lot of more things in the startup building journey going forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Great talk. We really appreciate. And It's so engaging that to see great founders from around the world now, like you are from Vietnam, giving an example of how you build your culture and how you're building your hypergrowth. So before I give my feedback and questions, I can see that we already have plenty questions coming from YouTube. Guys who is watching us, don't forget to press the like button, share this on your social media. Of course, don't forget to subscribe. But now this is the chance to ask the questions to the speakers. We are here to help you, and if you have something in your mind, you have a challenge, or you may be inspired with something after you listening Jocelyn and Nam, this is your chance. We will select the best ones, and we will publish it on our screen, and the speakers will try to address them in the best way possible. So thank you, Jocelyn. Thank you, Nam. What's inspiring in your story that you're focusing on hyper growth through culture and tools, and we are hearing always something that you have to invest in marketing, you have to work on your unit economics. You are starting with fundamentals. You are starting with the building the foundation of the team that will be actually delivering all those things for your company and future success. So I've seen one question about the culture, um, and there will be some more questions about the culture. There is one question to Jocelyn. Jocelyn, you guys had, and I agree with that. You probably work with many startups in Asia or with Lark, and maybe I'm sure in other regions because you're a global company. I'm sure you witnessed mm, many organizations that are working with you, and they have something in common. Like they fail fast, they succeed fast. What are the maybe key elements you have noticed that are making them kind of in general on these two groups? Like if you do this, you succeed. If you do that, you fail. Something like that. If you have in mind.
All right, thanks, Daniel, for that, for summarizing that question. Thanks, SB, for asking that. Um, Thankfully, those startups in Asia using Lark, I haven't heard of any that has failed. So that's good. But I would say, from what we noticed, it's two things. The first is that when there are startups and you have so many things happening, right? There's so many hats that you have to wear, you have to multitask and things like that. Those more successful startups, I feel they are very focused. Their people know exactly what they need to do and why they need to do that, and they know what their managers are doing, or they know what their co-workers are working towards. So that's where they kind of use the luck OKR as a tool, because with OKR they're able to see not only their own objectives and results, but they can also see their teams and other affiliated teams. So they have a full idea of, hey, why are we doing this? Why am I staying out so late at night? For what, right? So they have a very clear idea and they'll work towards that. So that's one. The second one that I noticed is that a lot of these successful startups, they don't hire based on titles. They don't hire based on schools or previous companies. They hire based on skill sets. So to give you a very live example, earlier today we were having a meeting internally, and we have somebody who used to be a lawyer, but now she is in the product team within ByteDance. So that is an example of hiring for skill sets and not say like a previous company or title. I hope that answers your question, SB.
All right, and we have a next question from Alex. Thank you, Jocelyn.
Yeah, thanks, Jocelyn. Actually, I would like to combine few questions because they're pretty much um, about the same, but probably the first one would be the question about the overload with operations. So, um, the mobile apps monetization says that we are trying to grow fast, but we are overloaded with operations, and I can't have enough resources to go full speed. Any advice how you optimize operations? But there is also another question from Explorer, where the founder says that he has a very formal mindset and he's not sure whether he can actually do it by himself, or he would ask to recommend some other person who is very familiar, I don't know, with establishing a vision with HR practice, maybe with some other practices, so that this can be put in together faster and more efficiently for the company. So hi, Nam, what would be your take about this problem, overload of work, and also who should actually establish this infrastructure? Should it be the founder, should it be their special team, and how to balance this process to make it hyper growth for everyone, hopefully. Yeah.
Great questions, guys.
Okay.
Thanks for asking
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
This good question, and also that question I'm trying to answer, to be very frank and honest, that I also feel overloaded all the time. Okay. Yeah. So that's very normal. So I gonna share my real story. Number one, that overload, that how to think of it's pretty normal, because as you're the founder, once you achieve something, you want to do more. So overload is a tendency that everyone gonna get. If you're not feel overloaded, you have a problem with the company. Okay, especially as a founder. Second, how to manage the overload. So I remember the one thing I learned in past years of building company and as a leadership is the leader is need to be calm and understand what are the right lever to push, because overload means that you have a lot of things running, but all the things one impact on each other. For example, that if I'm seeing that I having a problem on growth, I need to understand what the root cause, whether it's the people because I do not have skill, and whether because of the inefficiency, or because I cannot hire the right people because of the something is not performing as expected. So that put in the right lever. So every time I getting overloaded, I'm asking what are the right level that I suppose in, and then make a chain across all the function, and having the impact to push on the right lever. The second is something that I also struggle after the first 6 months, because we are grow and we have a lot of things to do, and it's about managing the objective. So this is what I echo what Jocelyn shared. We have to put the OKR, we have to put the objective that we set in every single quarter, and make sure that every manager and everyone they understand it. So if they are lost, like we do, we know what are the objectives, so we will stay more focused. So that's only two things.
Pretty
I
good
see.
answer.
Thanks so much for this answer. Indeed, you have to be very structured, and all founders are very overloaded. I think there are founders who are overloaded and maybe overloaded by thinking about that they're overloaded, and some founders that put structure in place. And I think the latter are those founders who can achieve a hyper growth. But of course, they need the right team for that, and that team need to have a right skill set, including skill set related, of course, to establishing a vision and the right and the right structure and communication in the team. Daniel, maybe you can take a next question.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to know Joyce's opinion on that, because I think both on the overload and engagement might be some other take from Joyce.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. Actually, I do. So I would ask mobile apps monetization, right? Of all these overloaded operations, which are the ones that really create that value, right? And which are the ones that are really just there for the process, for the work itself? Then those are the ones that you might want to consider automating or digitalizing, so that you spend as little time on those as possible, and then spend as much time on those that really create the value. That would be my advice for optimizing operations. Yeah.
Mm.
And one more point to, I think, explorers question about, getting the founder to do all these informal sessions or getting the team to support it. So just to share from my previous experience, I was in LinkedIn, and LinkedIn's culture is also very strong. And in LinkedIn there are different themes and different events happening, and I can share with you that all of these are done or are led by the employees themselves. So if you create that culture where you are open to letting employees lead a certain theme, like Monday stand up, right, or Thursday hackathons, and if they're passionate about it enough, they will lead it on your behalf. But you, as the founder, you need to give that direction on what you expect. What kind of activities or things like that you expect from the company and what results. Then I think you have a good team to run it for you. Yeah.
All right. I think that's we already have great examples, and in my opinion, just be honest with your team. Just try to listen to what they are saying, and nowadays we work remotely, and you have to position some vision and inspire them, so they are. Um, this kind of visionary inspiration gives them a roots to move for a specific direction. So in our global world, we have an amazing team, and these guys just really share the values and the vision we are going after, and that really helps me to manage our global team. Yeah. So and I, as other founders, also struggle sometimes with operations, and I can say that I have one simple tool to apply. I call it 80-20. You probably know and have heard of this. I just try to focus on 20% of the tasks that will bring me 80% of the value. I take the risk that somewhere I might fail, but overall, I know that the most important ones will be delivered to the best quality I can. So yeah, great questions, great answers. Thank you so much. We have another question from mobile apps monetization, actually related to what you guys just discussed. They struggle with remote team management. He's saying like, do I hire the wrong ones? So that's funny. Yeah, what do you think? Do they have a hiring process problem, or do they have maybe some internal process incorrect? Because this founder is giving a lot of freedom to their team. They work remotely, they commit, but they fail to deliver. What's wrong in there, in your opinion? Like Jocelyn, if you want to go first.
Sure. So it's a little hard to say right now, because then my question to you is, what you're giving them to deliver something that is hard to deliver, right? Can we break down that by smaller pieces and see, is there a certain part that they're facing challenges with, right? Or just really deep diving into why they cannot deliver. And without doing that, I think it's hard to just say that, yeah, you did hire the wrong person. Maybe they're perfect, but you got to hire the right person to do the right job. So,
Yeah,
okay.
they say they they can deliver on what they commit to. So.
Then the question is, why can't they deliver, right?
Yeah, it's a good
The
question.
manager probably need to sit down and have a good chat and a good review, and to see when maybe are there any resources or help that is needed from the team. Yeah, have a good chat to further deep dive.
That's a good tool to have, actually, the kind of communication with your team on a constant basis. Yeah, I agree with that. Nam, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm totally agree with what Jocelyn always share about setting your expectation, break it into small chunk, and also that asking why they cannot deliver. Yes, because these that's something they already commit. The answer gonna come from the staff themselves. It not come from us. If we try to answer for them, we cannot have the right answer. But they can speak. I can set the challenge that they face, so that we can fix piece by piece. But one of the other things that I feel that we should have the processes. The process is like what I shared earlier, the process to identify who are the good fit or not, because we can write the wrong guy is normal, right? Especially if we need to hire a lot and we don't have time to be picky, then we need to have the process to filter out, and we need to accept that.
Yeah, on the West, they like to say the devil is in the details, and I agree with both of you. So you need to speak with your team, and after interviewing them, like really dig into the details of the problem. You might find what's the reason, and sometimes it's just maybe they overcommit and they just don't understand how much resources they need to allocate in order to deliver what they think they could deliver sooner.
So just
Well,
my 2 cents. I think
yeah,
Hainam has mentioned during his talk that it's very important, and Jocelyn also amplified that it's very important to hire and bring people in the team based on skill set, but not based on particular positions. It's very often people are demotivated, and that's why they don't deliver because they don't own the problems. And because they don't own the problems, and that's a remote environment for them, it's very easy to not to deliver things because they're not gonna face you in an office and wouldn't make any problem. It's actually not often happening that people are, I don't know, not smart enough or don't have enough skills to fulfill the task. Most of the time, that's a structure that makes it doesn't work for your particular startup. And I think what you really need to figure out is why this is happening, what exactly the structure, and what exactly the flow of that is broken in the middle. And that will be very different for every startup, simply because the management, the culture, and the people and the skill sets, they are always in a very different setting. But most likely, that's you hired the right people. It's just you need to make it work for your particular company in this new environment that maybe you're not used to yet.
okay,
There is
so
a few more questions there. I think. Okay, some people highlighted that the hackathons is some very cool idea that you guys come up with. So maybe I'll just extend it a little bit. Hainam, how did you come up with this idea? Did you practice in the previous companies, or you just decided to do a hackathons here, or there was some think process, you collaborate, you had a hackathon, or it's because your first 2 weeks was a hackathon and then you decided to keep it up after that?
Hmm. This is both coming from our own experience. Because previously we already run in startup, so startup tend to build things fast. So this is number one. That is true. But the secondly, during the remote working, and we feel that how to motivate people and how we can manage the performance as well. So to motivate people, we cannot assign them tasks. We need to assign them the problem, and it's challenging enough so that everyone can focus and solving that. And we also have a rich reward as well. We don't have the KPI on the other stuff, but one hackathon is achieved, we celebrate that as rich reward. So we break the normal performance management cycle in normal environment by quarter or by every 6 months into small milestone, and then we are more flexible, keep everyone always engaged. Because everyone can see the impact of what they deliver and get rewarded, and they also have time to recharge. So basically, we shorten 3 months into 1 month. Because what you see that in 1 week we do hackathon and we have 2 or 3 weeks to basically relax and build the other stuff, and we go back to that cycle.
Yeah, thanks
And
for the
hackathon is
answer.
not only for tech, hackathon is basically the challenge. Is
And
but
of
do
course, you
you,
need to have a people in a team who really like challenges, and that people who will be motivated by challenges, right? So that boils back to who you hire and how you actually build your team in the very beginning. So if you have a team that really would like to take challenges, then hackathons will be something that will speed them up and improve the metrics and will let you grow faster.
I have one.
actually, it's both yes or no. I don't have the team that team from beginning. But it's the part of the onboarding process to filter the people who say that I like challenge, but in reality, after 2 months later, they're not ready.
Yeah. Well, in the States, they like to do this kind of trick at hiring, which I noticed quite interesting, is that they take the person through all interviews, and the management team likes the person, but before they take the final decision, they bring this person to the team to have an informal introduction and see if there is chemistry happening between them. So will there be natural part of the team or not? So to understand that, and this is the final decision is made not just with only management team but together with the entire team. I think this is something really interesting because that maybe leads to like really good collaboration internally. Like, do you have something like that in on your companies?
No,
Now,
no,
no, not yet.
Well,
not
I
yet.
do have. I do have. I give people, first of all, if they tell that they like challenges, then they shouldn't reject to take on a challenge after the interview. Then you can see actually how they tackle this challenge. This is the first thing, and we definitely, after the person goes through interview in our company, they we will randomly pick up 3 5 people and let them have like a remote call for half an hour where they chat about everything about life, and then later they give a feedback. When we have people triggering issues, then we are very serious about this, and actually we are more serious about those communication and chemistry issues than about the skill set, because we do believe if you are smart and you really want to grow to achieve super ordinary goals, actually you can gain skills very fast. But if you have skills but your focus is wrong and chemistry is not there, most likely it will be not efficient collaboration with employees. So that's how we tackle that.
Great.
So I
Sounds
didn't know that you guys doing it in the US. We did it in Singapore, but yeah, good to know that we come up with the same patterns.
all right. So I think we are about to wrap this up, and we have more questions from the YouTube. Let's take one final question just to summarize about the culture. We already discussed this, but the explorer asked this question: where do you start? Where do you start when you start a company to form this culture? And most importantly, and I agree with that, like about buying. So like you may say this is the culture, but do really people believe in this culture? What you're saying? How would you do that? Jocelyn, let's go. Let's take it first.
Yeah, I'll just start off by sharing for ByteDance case. Um, what our ex-CEO did was he really reviewed some of the cultures from other inspiring companies, and he reviewed them, and he also internalized and discussed with the team. Right, is something like this going to be a good direction for ByteDance? Is something like that? So what I'm saying is that he actually did, refer to quite a few companies before coming out with ByteDance's own. And he had his own team also, right, to kind of make sure that this is aligned and something that makes sense before really throwing it out there to the wider team.
Thank you. And Nam, what's your take on that?
Yeah, so do I. Read a lot of books about culture. My previous company, read the one from Netflix, and also learn a lot. This is how I started in my previous company. Some company I built the culture is not so strong. So did a lot of research earlier. The second that when I learned is the culture is no right or wrong, no right or wrong. It just has strong or not strong. And if strong, you get people with the right mindset, share the same value, then it's gonna be stronger. Then I'll be very open as well. I start with set up a culture with all the people, and I got what are the people who drive the company in the right direction. and also pick up the idea what we're gonna do next, what we expect from other people to join here. So our setup culture actually evolving, but we always keep it very strong, and we rely on that culture.
Alex, what's your take on this? What's your opinion?
I actually would ask Hainam a question. Well, you have several startups in the past, and you had building a culture is each of them. Is there anything you can really teach people, or it's really very specific for every company you build, people you build, the place you build, and you should just really be very attentive to what your partners and employees are talking about, what people are feeling, and try to build a culture from bottom up rather than from top to bottom, from CEO to employees.
Yeah. So I think that that's coming from my experience from learning, and experience from running through the company, which is build the culture or put all the values just for the sake of what I say, the propaganda. Yeah. So yeah, we said that. I see all the company, and I went through the company, just pick the culture because it's a nice word and because it's have something to align all the people. So I personally don't find buy in. So for me, that's what I'm sharing is from my experience, from my reflection. So my very first version of the culture is coming from me. It has to coming from me. Yes,
Yeah.
not coming from anyone else, coming from the founder. But over time, then you need to listen to all the people around you to see what is they doing right and adapt accordingly. So that's two things. So when it coming from you, it have coming from all your experience. Whether you read book, whether you for the company that you've been through, basically everything. But initially, it has to come from you. You cannot build a culture with all the people that just recently gather, and you don't have time to understand them yet, right? So it cannot be the culture.
So just
Well,
like everything in a startup, pretty much, right? You have to iterate a lot, and I think the learning by the founder is definitely not less important than the learnings of all employees. Simple because you really have to be very attentive and build it step
Yeah.
by step. But of course, the backbone you can set up by yourself because you are the founder. That's your direct job. So if you are focused on operations very much, think of whether you put enough time to set up a backbone of your culture and really understand employees around you. Maybe they can do the operations and you can focus on, building a company and achieving a hyper growth like Hainam is doing, and as Lark has shown in the past, right? So, Daniel, that would be my take. We are going to wrap up here, right?
yeah. So with that, I would say that was an amazing talk. Thank you so much, Nam, Jocelyn, Alex. To me, it was important to achieve this practical conversation, and so you guys had you did the picture, all right? So we need to smile. I think what you've talked was a transparent conversation because nowadays we have so many inspirational talks about this work. So if you do that, and but all of a sudden you are trying and you can't achieve. You shared the story from your heart, and the way you shared this is what, like, for example, just like you answered, you gave your personal example of how you deal with culture yourself, and I really like it. I will remember it even for myself that your own culture in your company starts with your personal culture, and actually it leads to the entire organization. That's great. Quotes to put on social media, actually. I love it. Jocelyn, thank you so much for a great talk as well, for setting all this up. I think it's inspiring to have this detailed conversation, and this what Lark does with your culture might be maybe an example for the startups. Before I let you go, there is one way we are actually saying goodbye to our audience, and instead of just saying bye and leave, I would like you to share your um, um, uh, final say, or maybe summary of what you want your audience, our audience, to stay with. It may be just a few words, maybe some quick summary, or something that you have on your heart to share with the global founders from global world community. And Jocelyn, please go first, then Nam, and then we wrap it up.
Okay, Daniel, this is the surprise. So I just want to say to all of you startups out there, I know it's an upward battle, but stick with it, get the right team, trust them to do their work, and find the right tool, and yeah, you will get there. And all the best. Wishing you all the best.
Great. Can't add more. Thank you. And
I'm
Nam.
good.
For me, that I think that as startup founder, same as Jocelyn, trust your team because your team is the one who actually deliver that. The role of the founder is more giving the direction and support them to succeed in their job. Right. That's how you grow your business and grow your people.
So we had Nam and Jocelyn speaking of how to build a hypergrowth through culture and tools. And with me was Alex Farseev, Go Global World Ambassador from Singapore and CEO and co-founder of somin.ai, and myself, Daniil Zlinsky. Thank you, everyone, and we're wishing you having a great day wherever you are right now. And we look forward to see you soon. We will have more webinars, more talks from Asia, from other parts of the world. We are speaking with founders and venture capital investors on how to help founders grow international companies, how to fundraise, how to make the next step forward. And today we achieved it. And thank you all. And I'm stopping the live stream right now. Goodbye and see you soon.